This is a video about going to college. And there are several issues involved that have come up again and again in recent days for me. I have been really slow in my life to recognize that most of the people I've met in my life and deal with in my life have not been to college. Maybe more than 90% of the people that I meet and work with have never been to college. I've started actually steering conversations in the direction to determine whether the people I've been talking to the last year ever went to college. And my intuition's been confirmed, but almost all of them have not. This is really quite amazing to me. And it explains an awful lot of the dysfunction and incapability and misuse of things in the world for me. So really, how can I have missed such a big pattern in the world for decades? You think you're a smart person, but when you really look at your mental performance, they're just the most big, giant, fundamental patterns in life, and you don't spot them till you're 50 or 60 years old. It's embarrassing. So I'm not that smart, at least in my own evidence. What happens is this: an awful lot of people, even decades ago when I was going to college, and I did go to college, and I'm very seriously made sure I went to college even when I wasn't at a college. And I'll deal with why that happened later in this video. But a lot of people ended up doing business and economics in undergraduate school for 3 or 4 years. A lot of people did pre-law and pre-medicine for 3 or 4 years. There are less than 1 in 10, maybe less than 1 in 20 people who systematically made themselves do the arts and humanities while they were in college for 3 or 4 years, and who then insisted on also doing the social sciences for 3 or 4 years, and then who also insisted on doing the sciences for 3 or 4 years, and who then also insisted on doing engineering and the professions for 3 or 4 years. Now that's a busy 3 or 4 years. I don't think you can function well in modern society if you didn't do all 4 of those. And we are seeing the limits in every profession of disaster caused by people for lack of the arts and humanities, and disaster caused by lack of basic social science common sense, and disasters caused by lack of the hard sciences and respect for data and the hard sciences, and disaster caused by just lack of capability, of professional capability. And you need all 4 of those, and you can't pick one because it's a faster route to money and expect to get away with it safely and have a safe life and to have your money safe. I teach engineers now, and I started out teaching MBAs, and I was slow to realize I've been to college. These guys, and I fought to go to college. I fought when I was at a non-college to turn it into a college. And these guys didn't do that. They just didn't care or know or whatever. They went and took 4 years of engineering courses, and that's natural. And they took 4 years of science courses, and that's natural. They took 4 years of business, and that's natural. And it never occurred to them that not knowing the arts and humanities meant that they would be incapable of emotional control all of their life in themselves and others. That not taking the social sciences, they would misunderstand causality and everything around them and be ineffective at influence all of their life. And that their profession would imbue them with a religion that you know economics and therefore you understand business, which would be wrong all of their life and make them delusional. And not only ineffective, but delusionally believing they're effective while they're being ineffective in the way that the British comedy The Office is meant to show. People who are absolutely blind to the fact that exactly what they call capability is what everyone around them experiences as incapability. Now, I've got other videotapes where I dealt with adulthood, which is the whole issue of going to college is where you discover that that there is a thing called adulthood and that you can become an adult if you work hard for 30 years. And around about age 55, you might become an adult. It's almost impossible to become an adult earlier than age 50. And you have to go to like a Nazi concentration camp or something. But for most people, you can't become an adult until about age 50 or 55. And most people don't even know what adulthood is. They never try to become an adult. So you have a 12-year-old brain instead of emotions operating in a 50-year-old body and a 40-year-old body and a 60-year-old body. And you can test your father on this tonight. Go home and challenge one of his favorite political or economic opinions and see whether he gets angry and defensive and attacks you. If he gets angry, defensive, or attacks you or gets emotionally upset, he's a 12-year-old. Literally, the period from 11 to 13 years old is where you are your opinions, and the quality of your opinions is a basis for your pride. And if someone attacks your opinions, they attack you and you defend. Now, this is a stage you're supposed to outgrow at age 13, and maybe 80% of the adult men that I know never outgrow it. You meet a Japanese manager age 50 and you attack Japanese management and he defends it. He's a 12-year-old in a 50-year-old body. It's embarrassing. And, you know, for a while I would announce this to people and they didn't appreciate my opinion. So I don't announce it anymore, but I just leave them alone to lead ineffective lives their entire life with a bloated, inflated image of themselves and a delusional actual effectiveness. But this video is not about that. This video is about the bigger picture of you can't trust a businessman who thinks that business is based on economics and who doesn't know how to manage emotion via the arts, who doesn't know how to manage judgment via the humanities, who doesn't know how to manage causality via the social sciences, and who's got the tools of some profession without the ability to handle emotion and causality, which is 90% of reality. So he's delusional. And you find doctors like this. Medical school, Harvard Medical School, teaches utter stupidity of causal thinking. And I know what I'm talking about because I've met these guys. I've met both sides, the teachers and the students. And the professors have no idea about causal reasoning, and the students have no idea about causal reasoning. And so you get doctors incapable of actual diagnostic thinking because they can't reason causally at all. They don't have a clue to what causal reasoning actually requires. And I'm talking about the whole spectrum of causal reasoning from Chinese medicine to American medicine. I'm not talking about correlational statistics that the idiots at the National Institution of Health in America think are causal reasoning. And most of their published studies in medical journals, 77% of their studies are factually, statistically wrong in their textbooks, as my mentor at the University of Chicago proved. So they don't have a clue either. But, you know, they all love each other and they're all friends, and the Harvard guys go to NIH and the NIH go to Harvard, and so there's no one with any knowledge to judge the fact that all these guys are ignorant. And so you end up with stupid people at the NIH expanding funding for female hormones as a cause of rheumatoid arthritis because they don't have a clue about how to stratify data. Sel Becker and I stratified the data on rheumatoid arthritis 20 years ago, and we found 52 different phenomena, patterns in its occurrence, all explained by one factor. And that's what the NIH should be funding, and they're not. And I'm not going to tell them, assholes. Do the stratification work yourself, you idiots. It's not rocket science. It's the most basic part of elementary statistics, and the NIH can't do it. It's embarrassing. And I may actually, I'm getting old, I may actually do a journal article in the New England Journal or something one day if I can meet a couple of the editors and have some long talks with them to get them to understand the issue. Because it's important, because right now the doctors all over the world, rheumatoid arthritis is the world's most profitable diagnosis because they have 20 treatments, none of which work. And so you just get endless money, new boats, new houses, and there's this unconscious desire to not really understand it. Now, college is about that kind of thing. So college is where you learn that doctors and gangsters and bankers are the same occupation. Basically, they steal money from old ladies. You learn that at college. It's called demystification, the books of Ivan Ilyich or Karl Marx or Nietzsche. If you don't know how to demystify, then you end up with deluded trust in parts of society all of your life. It makes you look like a naive fool. Or you end up totally cynical. making you look like a naive fool. And then we have societies where almost nobody has been to college. It's interesting, but this guy Thiel, who was a rich guy from founded PayPal, he's got this scholarship, $50,000 a year for 2 years to people who don't go to college and who develop a business. And if they don't go to college, but he's really not paying them not to go to college. He's really paying them to go to college because the way they would have gone to college wouldn't have been going to college. So he's paying for them to develop the kind of arts control of emotion and social science forms of understanding of real causality that you get from actually trying to build something in the world, and that you don't get in college when you just study economics for 4 years to prepare for an MBA, or free med biology for 4 years to be a doctor and get money from old ladies, etc. So paradoxically, he's paying for them to go to real college instead of a fake college. And people are angry because he's not paying. People write angry editorials about him because he's trying to pay people not to go to college, but it isn't a real college experience that he's paying them not to go through. They would have gone to a fake college where you don't learn the arts and humanities, where you don't learn the social science and causality, where you don't learn the professions, where you don't learn the sciences.